Are you ready? Are you set? 'Cause it's time to embrace the new ways.
That's right. It's time to embrace the Nitwits. Hi, we're the Nitwits. Welcome back
Heck yeah, baby.
to another episode.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
It's going
No.
good.
That's
You know,
good.
yeah. Living life. The Star Wars
Yeah.
life.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It is almost May the 4th. But before we get there, man, it's the first of the month.
Hey-oh.
May 1st.
One of the few times that this actually does happen on the 1st.
It's pretty
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man. Wow. And Nitwits fans, you know what that means? We got the Fandom Forecast.
Hey-oh.
Heck yeah.
Coming to you with all the things that are happening, the things that are being announced in the world of the nerd.
Who would have thought?
So,
Not me.
without further ado, I guess I'll lead us off.
Hey-oh.
Number one, for those of you guys who don't know, with it being this first weekend in May, the Prince George FanCon is coming to town. That's pretty cool.
Hey-oh.
We haven't had a chance to plan out or go buy tickets for it, so you won't get any vlogging of that. But
Sad.
hey, maybe that's something in the future. But go check it out. That's really fun. Other than that, the things that are coming up that were on my window are movies. Movies are fun. Movies are great. Movies are a great thing to do with your friends. And we got Thunderbolts coming out
This weekend?
here this weekend. It's pretty exciting. We talked about it a little bit before, so I don't need to go too much into it. But are we excited to watch Senator Bucky bring in a band of scallywags to deal with a disastrous threat because the Avengers all took vacation?
Dude,
I guess
it
so.
looks good.
I think there's
Sure
gonna be
is,
some cool
Noggin.
things out of it.
Sure is.
I don't know if I'm gonna go see it, but I know that Noggin's excited for
I'm
it.
going to go see it.
Final
I'm gonna
Destiny
go.
Bloodlines is also coming out. What? That's
Final
right.
What?
Final what now?
Final Destination.
Oh, there you
My
go.
goodness. I'm very tired. Final Destination Bloodlines. If you like watching people die, then this is the thing for you. They're going to die weird, wacky, and unexpectedly expected, if you know what I mean. Watch out for them log trucks. We also have Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. This is apparently the last Mission Impossible movie that's coming to you. So, what are the chances that Tom Cruise hangs up that Mission Impossible money check that he gets and sends to the Church of Scientology? Probably very unlikely.
Oh, my.
And then you got Lilo and Stitch coming out. We'll see if it's as big of a disaster as Disney's Snow White. No Rachel Zellweger, so there's a chance that it could be good. And with Karate Kid, I'm excited to watch some of those favorite characters who have been in the Cobra Kai series join us again and give us that little bit of beautiful, exciting nostalgia. Those are the movies that are coming out. So, yeah,
Noise.
go check them out.
Heck yeah.
If you see them, please go up on our Instagram and our Facebook and comment. Tell us what you thought.
Yeah.
Because we will love to respond to you. And I promise you that we will respond to the messages that are sent to
wondering,
us within like
Instagram
an hour.
Is Nerds and Nitwits.
Hey.
Surprise, surprise.
All right. That's
So
shocking.
go follow us, like all of our posts,
Do it.
and we'll actually start posting reels soon. So
An ad break.
there'll be more.
Nope. No, there's not. Hold on. Let me fix that real quick. We interrupt this program to not bring you any ads. There's always one thing I forget every
Oh.
And now
single
we're
time.
all black.
Why are we all gone?
We're fine. We're fine. There's no ad breaks. No.
I knew I was like, oh, we're back again. Okay, never mind. I take that back.
There's always one thing I forget every single week, and usually I usually catch it, but this time I didn't hit snooze. I hit dismiss, which meant the notification went away, which means I didn't get to cancel it. But anyways,
What do you mean I'll add spice? Noggin?
let's maybe not ask that question.
Well, you want to go for it, Joel?
Sure, why not? We got a lot. So there's a lot of games coming out. So Cam and I kind of split these up a little bit. One of the first ones coming up is Sonic Rumble comes out on May 8th. It is coming to PC and mobile. If you know what Fall Guys is, it's just that with Sonic characters, but probably a little bit more fast-paced, I'm guessing. Sonic, it better be. What else is coming? You got that one. You got that one. Oh, Revenge of the Savage Planet is coming out. I played the first Savage Planet game, which is a very interesting take on like pollution and yada yada yada, and like it's a very fun platforming game. This one takes it out of a first-person perspective, brings it to a third-person perspective, which is fun. We got Capcom Fighting Collection 2. I love the Capcom versus Marvel games, the Capcom fighting games. Those ones are all fun. What I forgot about, I'm glad I looked at this list. May 20th, Dune Awakening comes out. Which, if you don't know what Dune Awakening is, it is a survival craft game set in the Dune universe. So, you know, spice and sand and all that fun stuff. It looks super good. It looks great.
That kind of spice Michael adds.
It's a little bit of spice right there.
Blue eye drugged money.
So that's coming out as well. And then the one that I think I am most looking forward to, end of the month, May 30th, is, and I know this is a divisive take. Elden Ring Night Rain comes out at the end of the month, which is a prequel of sorts. I don't even know how best to describe it, of Elden Ring, but it is a co-op roguelike game where you go in, you die, you start over. And it's just kind of, there's classes, instead of having builds that you can customize yourself, there's classes that you take, so there's Bruiser and Mage and all that stuff. But it takes like a whole bunch of the bosses of Elden Ring, takes a whole bunch of the bosses that they haven't shown off yet, and then takes some of them even from the Dark Souls games, and your whole goal is to just not die, but it's co-op with up to like 4 people. So it could be fun. I know some people are like, oh, that sounds great, and then some people are like, but that's not Elden Ring. It's like, yeah, you're right.
It sounds like a way to watch all the nitwits swear on camera.
It looks really cool.
That's what it sounds like.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
I thoroughly plan on playing it.
Yep.
Well, to start myself off, Spray Paint Simulator comes out this month. A relaxing and satisfying painting game in which you give the town of Splatterville a well-needed makeover with the business that you build from the ground up. And that one's going to be available on all systems. Don't like relaxing spray paint games? Metal Eden may just be for you. A high adrenaline FPS in which you are sent on a suicide mission to face off against the engineers in cybernetic warfare and uncover the secrets of Metal Eden. Honestly, I just watched the trailer today for this, and when it looks pretty cool, it kind of looks like Doom, like the actual like play style and the way you interact with things and everything looks a lot like Doom. Which, speaking of Doom, if you didn't know, Doom: The Dark Ages releases this month on May 15th. Doom: The Dark Ages is a prequel, actually, to the 2016 Doom reboot, and it looks sick. You're entering like a dark fantasy medieval realm to fight against the forces of hell once again, with new weapons like the shield saw and large mechs that you'll get to pilot. I think Doom: The Dark Ages is set to be a pretty epic gaming experience. And yeah, that's all I've got. I mean, there's so much more we can say. We did already say it in an episode, but Oblivion Remaster came out.
Yep.
Amazing. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. People are going crazy for that game right now.
I haven't started it yet.
So yeah, it's a very good month for gaming.
It's very good.
And honestly, seems like a decent month for movies. So go check things out. You want to do stuff with us? Let us know.
There is also a lot that we didn't mention. Like, there's a lot of smaller games on there, so. But.
Well.
Punch
Star
it!
Wars time!
Heck yeah, baby.
Star Wars time!
It's high time. We
Punch
have
it,
not
Chewie.
done a Star Wars episode yet, and there is no almost better day for us to do it. I mean, if Thursday was on a May 4th, it'd be a little bit better.
It would
But,
be great.
good enough.
Yep.
Exactly. And we got some things first off to open up with. We had the opportunity to go see Revenge of the Sith in theaters. It actually came to our theater.
Heck yeah.
We went down on Saturday. It was a blast.
So
We
good.
went in the afternoon. There was like maybe 13, 14 people in the theater total.
So
And it was hilarious because at so many moments, I would catch myself saying the words and the lines that the characters were saying in the movies, pause and go, oh, I'm being that guy in the theater,
You
only
guys
to hear
were
the people
quoting-
behind us saying it,
Yeah.
the people in front of us saying it, and
Sleep
all the
over!
people I was sitting with
You guys
saying
were
it.
quoting entire scenes.
Yeah.
And then you would stop, and the people behind us are still going.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Oh, it was so
Yeah.
good.
If you guys don't
We-
know, none of
yeah.
us ever saw it in theater. We were all too young, too
According to our parents.
unfortunate to have gotten to do that. So
Which-
it was pretty cool.
And
to
I
see
would
it
I
on
would have been the
big screen.
oldest out of all of us when it came out, and even at 11, I was still told I wasn't allowed to go see it. I saw episode 1. I watched episode 2. Did not get to go see episode 3 in theaters.
Episode 2 has a lot of murder.
I'm saying I saw it. I never went and saw it in theaters. I got to watch it, but I never got to go see episode 3 in theaters. I was 11, almost 12 years old, and
That's
my
crazy.
dad went and saw it, but no, I wasn't allowed to.
That's and
Very
you know
upsetting.
what? It had been probably a year or two since I'd seen it last. Because
Yeah.
I'm not one who usually goes to the prequels when it comes to Star Wars movies. I'm a pretty huge fan of episode 4, 5, and 6, but I don't have a beef with the prequels.
It's fair.
I really don't. I think that they summarize Star Wars for an age of people like ourselves. And because that's what it was. That was the new thing. Like all of my favorite Lego Star Wars levels are all prequel levels.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
fair.
and the biggest
fair.
thing that I just realized and I remembered with this is just the contrast between Anakin and Obi-Wan at the beginning of the movie towards the end is just like so sad because Anakin is willing to risk the mission of trying to capture General Grievous and get the Chancellor back. He 3 times says, I'm willing to risk my life so that Obi-Wan lives and the mission is successful.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just to watch that deteriorate, man, like that was just
Well, it's always
so well done.
so it's almost like painful to watch because you can see like even when Anakin is in Palpatine's office and Mace Windu has him
Mm-hmm.
and Anakin is conflicted, right? Like he's trying to
Mhm.
talk Mace Windu into stopping what he's doing, and only when Mace Windu goes to do something, he finally reacts, and then immediately he goes like, "What have I done?" Right? And so you
Yeah.
can I think you can see through the movie as he starts to struggle more with where he's going and where life is leading him.
I mean, like even that, like the stuff that I love is stuff like the lighting. So like the last time
Mhm.
Anakin and Obi-Wan see each other when Obi-Wan goes off to find Grievous and stuff. Obi-Wan
Yeah.
completely in the light. He's completely like he's got
Yeah.
light behind him on the ships in the background, and then Anakin is completely in shadow. He's got nothing but darkness behind him and whatever else. And it's just like, well, that's the last time he's ever going to see Anakin, which technically
Yeah.
is true because when he sees him again, he's Darth Vader. But like,
Yeah.
So seeing it in the theater was the first time I had put together 2. So at the beginning of the movie, when Anakin is about to kill Count Dooku, and Palpatine says to him like he's
Yeah.
too dangerous to be kept alive. And I've never made this connection until watching it in the theater of all times. But then Anakin kills Count Dooku.
mhm.
And then right at the end of the movie, again in that office with Palpatine and Mace Windu, right? And Mace Windu says the same words when he's about to kill Palpatine. He goes, he's too dangerous to be left alive. But this time, Anakin doesn't agree. And instead, yeets Mace. very far. I guess
Both
technically
times, though,
Palpatine meets him.
he agrees with Palpatine.
Exactly. That's the
Nice
thing.
window.
You can tell, like, he's been slowly manipulated into this point where he believes Palpatine is there for him. And
Mhm.
Palpatine wants to see him succeed. And in a way, he does. Just
Yeah.
not in the way that he thought.
Yeah. One of my favorite callbacks in Revenge of the Sith is when he goes to try and save Obi-Wan and Palpatine looks at him and says, "Don't do it. We don't have enough time, blah blah." Blah. And Anakin's reply is his fate will be the same as ours. And it's true because all three of them
Mhm.
die by his own hand. He kills Obi-Wan, he
Yep.
throws Palpatine down the shaft, and then he dies giving himself
What the
up.
heck?
They all die in a Death Star too.
They all die in the Death Star. Or
That's
in a
also
Death Star.
true. Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
mean, technically, Palpatine dies in a different Death Star
I-
and Darth Vader,
Still,
but
he's still like they all die by Darth Vader because
yeah.
Darth like basically kills himself to save Luke at the end of
Yeah.
the end of
Yeah.
Jedi. So
Yeah, which is
Hmm.
I think just such a wonderful the way that it is done. Like George Lucas, maybe not the greatest writer of dialogue, but world building, he's good at that. And that
Yeah.
was just something that's continually brought back to me. Funny part that happened in the theater. There we are, we're all sitting there, and we went to go see it with Noggin, and the theater gets really quiet, and Anakin walks, and I told the guys in our Discord channel, I was like, boys, I am excited to watch Anakin and the 501st storm the Jedi Temple on the big screen because that just the gravitas of that moment as they walk up those stairs and into the light of the Jedi Temple, into this area that is just pure knowledge. Like this is ultimate enlightenment and understanding, and they're gonna sack it. It's just like, oh man, that hits so much harder on a big screen when you can see all that. And they
Mhm.
walk in and they're going around, and Anakin walks in, and there's Jedi younglings dead on the floor, and the whole room, the whole theater is just sort of quiet. And all of a sudden, Noggin just sits there and goes, "Sleepover!" Because all the kids are lying on the ground as if they fell asleep, and we all burst out laughing.
We all died.
Nobody could hold it in. That was
it
it.
was so funny.
Sleepover!
So
I think
good.
It was just too funny.
Like,
Oh man, that was one of the best parts.
I know we didn't talk to anybody else in that theater, but that group of people we went with, like at the same time, probably the best group of people we could have gone at the same time with.
Oh yeah.
Because they all laughed at things that happened. We all was quoting the movie. It was great, but it was good.
Izzy, I'm sorry, I disagree with your statement that Anakin is the best character. We'll get into that later. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite characters, but just so you know, you will be told otherwise later.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you that trigger warning. I don't want to lead you off.
I'm not
But,
sure about that, but sure.
Otherwise, guys, with Star Wars, let's take on a task here.
Oh.
Would you guys join me in ranking the Star Wars saga?
Nope.
All right.
We're not
Okay.
including the 3 new ones.
No, if we're doing it, we're doing it.
Okay, well they're the bottom 3, so that solves that problem. I don't care which
We
order.
gotta put them in an order.
Okay,
All right.
let's do
I'm
it.
pulling up a list of all the movies.
We've got 9 episodes. What's at number 9? What's very bottom of the list?
Okay. Hear me out.
Are we including
if
like
we're gonna do
Rogue
this-
One and Solo and
Exactly.
are we including just like episodes or are we including Star Wars movies?
I was saying core
I think-
episodes, the saga, because otherwise there's way too many other little strands to get into.
Well, if
And
we're
the
just
saga is the one that most people are going to approach and watch, and then the other ones come in after. Because
I don't know. I feel like it's a crime to leave Rogue One out.
it's true.
okay, fine, the top 10. Let's make it a good round number.
Okay.
We can leave
Look
Solo
again.
out of this.
Leave Solo out of it, including the entirety of Clone Wars. No, we're not judging that many episodes.
All right. What's at number 10? What's the bottom of the barrel? I would say The Last Jedi.
I think I would have to. I think I would see
'Cause The Last
the
Jedi.
last. Yeah,
my main reasoning, like, there's some cool moments, like, Luke using the Force to go somewhere else and dealing with but like, if you watch episode 7, miss episode 8, watch episode 9, you miss nothing. You can watch them, and it's still a cohesive story. They accomplish essentially nothing in episode 8. Basically, the whole rebellion fails. They have no base. There's like a whole thing that Finn goes on with Rose, and they don't even do what they went for. They literally get nothing done, and it's like a third of the movie's runtime is that storyline.
I can agree with you on that. I think I watched that in theaters, and that ultimately ended me seeing Star Wars movies in theaters until Revenge of the Sith, because that was just okay. Though it has debatably one of the coolest shots, though. If you want to go from like a movie perspective, that shot where their ship goes into hyperspace and smokes the what is it? The First Order interceptor, and it like flash freezes. That blew my mind.
Silence in the theater.
That was so cool. That was so cool in the theater. But man, the rest of the movie, I agree. Now I would say Episode 9 isn't much better because none of their characters, which is similar to Rogue One, and this is one of the beefs I have with Rogue One. I will ultimately have Rogue One higher than these. The main characters don't make any of their own decisions.
Yeah.
There's no point in time where they make their own decisions. They sit there and they go, "Oh man, we really need this." And then somebody shows up and goes, "I have this." And they go, "Oh, well now we need to find this." And somebody shows up and goes, "I know where this is. Here you go." They don't actually make any of their own decisions. They don't find anything. That's like if Anakin,
it's a constant. It's literally especially the sequel trilogy. There's so many moments in all 3 of the movies even where the problems are just solved by another person showing up out of the blue with no explanation. It's like, "Oh, we need to go to this person," and then they go, the person solves the problem. Great.
Yeah,
that'd be like if they made Episode 4, that'd be like Han and Leia and Chewie and Luke getting stuck in the trash compactor, and then having C-3PO all of a sudden come over the comlink, except for the fact that they never brought him there. They left him on Tatooine, and all of a sudden he just shows up on the comlinks on the Death Star. And he's like, "Oh, Master Luke, I can help you. I'm C-3PO, human cyborg relations."
Well, if you were playing a video game, the sequel trilogy would just be fetch quest after fetch quest after fetch quest, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, it would just, it's the same thing of like, go here, do this. Go here, do this. Now this person, go here. So it's hard. The only reason I don't rank 9 on the bottom is because I think by the time they hit 9, 8 had put them in such a bad spot to try and do a good job. And like the scene with all the ships coming out of hyperspace and then like the battle on Exegol, that was a pretty sweet scene.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So we got our 10 and number 9.
Yeah.
Now, number 8. What is sitting at number 8? And I have one that might be a hot take here.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. I think Attack of the Clones
I
worse
than
Force Awakens and Rogue One.
I'm sorry.
Will, if I can, I will skip Attack of the Clones.
There is no way that you guys think Attack of the Clones is better than The Phantom Menace.
It's not.
I think Phantom
Menace is better than Attack of the Clones. That's why Attack of the Clones is 8.
No, wait. I said that backwards.
Phantom Menace, hands down. Hands down.
It's so much better.
The only good thing to come out of Attack of the Clones is Jango Fett's friggin' bombs. That's it.
Whoa. The gladiator-esque arena fight is pretty cool. Like all the Jedi show up.
Yeah.
And they all ignite their lightsabers.
You're right.
Like that's the most Jedi we see on screen. But here's the deal: the Dooku Yoda fight was meh. It was cool because you're like, "Whoa, that's Yoda fighting," and then you pause and you're like, "He moves so fast, you have no clue what's going on."
It's true. You're not wrong. Like even when Anakin and Obi-Wan fight Dooku, it's very short. And like, I get that the idea is like he's way stronger than they are, but it's literally like 2 versus 1, and he's like, "Oh, boom, down, boom, get wrecked, lose your arm," and
Also,
then Yoda shows up and like, "I'm a flipping frog, dude."
everything in Phantom Menace is better than Anakin flirting with Padme and using the Force to move a pear onto her fork and watching the pear actually just go through the fork and then appear on top. Like, they failed to render that out properly. They did all of the Geonosian stuff, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, CGI pear, too hard."
It's rough, it's
Like
coarse,
what,
it's
Joel?
irritating. The Attack of the Clones is exactly that quote. It's rough, it's coarse, it's irritating, and it gets everywhere somehow.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? I can get with
And
putting it at
Number 8.
number whatever.
It's number 8.
So, but like we said, it still has cool things. Like the bomb that goes off is really cool. There we go. Sorry, I'm watching the Oilers game at the same time.
Michael's team is doing well at the moment.
It's 1-1. It's not doing well.
Oh, they're gonna lose.
Anyways,
Let's go.
so the number 7, I would probably put Phantom Menace at number 7 is the thing.
So here's the thing. I would say Phantom Menace is better than The Force Awakens.
Actually, no, you're right. Yeah, Force Awakens number 7. Phantom Menace number 6.
Yeah, I think so. Michael, you good with
What was
that?
this? Sorry. Sorry.
Force Awakens at number 7. Phantom Menace at number 6.
No, I'm not.
You're
No?
wrong.
No.
you're
I'm not.
wrong.
Why not?
Because okay. So as a refresher, we have episode 8, then episode 9, then episode 2.
Yes.
I'm going to have Rogue One next.
No.
Yeah, nope, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Rogue One is 7.
Nope.
Here's the deal.
No,
I-
you're outvoted on
Neo,
that one.
You know, no. Just can I
You
share
go
my,
ahead.
Can I
You
share
go
my
ahead.
point?
You go ahead.
Okay. I'm okay if you disagree with me, but here's the deal, guys. Rogue One, like I pointed out earlier, that you all agreed with, suffers from the same problem as Episode 9. The lead character, by the way, can you just tell me what her name is?
Jyn Erso?
Jyn Erso.
Jyn Erso. Cool. I didn't even remember. That's how much I cared about her. What's one decision she makes for herself in the whole movie? When she's imprisoned, she doesn't choose to try to escape. Somebody else breaks her out. When she's
True.
sitting there trying to figure out how to get through the gates of the Empire, she doesn't get through. Somebody else goes, "Oh, I can get you through," and they pull her through. Then they're sitting there and they're trying to figure out what the plan is, and somebody goes, "Oh, you should be a spy," and she goes, "I should be a spy." It's not her decision. That's somebody else's decision. Everything she does, the only
That's
decision.
pretty simplified.
No. If you look through it and you rewatch that movie, there's only one decision she makes.
I would.
The only
hard
decision that she makes
disagree.
that lends to the story is the decision. Are you freaking kidding me?
I've never heard of that decision before. But anyways.
Come on!
This episode brought to you by the NHL. Not actually. No affiliation.
Where are you going with that, Michael?
the only decision she makes is to die on that planet. It's like
to be
sit
fair,
there. She doesn't do any.
They
Even when
don't actually
she's
make
sitting
that
there.
decision. They can't escape. So actually, that's
Oh, she doesn't
again,
even make that
a
decision. But you know that
they
moment
can't make.
where the guy she likes is trying to get the codes? You know that point? What is she doing there while people are trying to break down the door? She's doing this. Hurry up! Hurry up, they're coming! They're getting through the door. She has a gun on her belt that she refuses to grab and even place. Like, she doesn't even sit there and go, if they come through the door, I have to defend this man with my life. No, it's just, they're coming. You have to do it faster. Oh,
I'm
no.
pretty sure she is the one that gets the thing.
No, she's not. Rewatch it.
You
Rewatch
rewatch it. You rewatch.
Doesn't she have
I
to
watched
climb
it
the
2 weeks
tower to
ago.
get it,
I'm
though?
not saying that I
Yeah,
don't enjoy it.
climbs the
I'm saying that
tower
the Phantom
to the
Menace,
top, and
the
then
Phantom Menace
Caspian
is
follows
better.
her up.
the Phantom Menace is better. You
I
know why? You know
even
why?
if we're talking like Jin Urso is one of the main characters, even if what you're saying is right, which it's not. Uh,
I'll send you a
there's
link.
other main characters that do make decisions that do add to it.
Well, yeah, and they're all side characters, just like episode 9.
I would argue that like Cassian is totally a main character as well.
I mean,
But it's not
obviously.
his story. It's what's her face.
It's well, actually, it's their story. I would argue.
Here's the thing. She was such a weak main character that when they decided to do the Andor series, they're like, no, we don't need her. We need the other guy.
Well, no.
And
Because
and Cameron,
Andor is leading up to him becoming the spy.
yeah, because
Of
he's
course,
that much cooler of a character.
Her story would just lead up to her being in jail at the beginning of the episode, and it's literally said in it that she hasn't really done much since her parents were, taken or murdered.
So you mean she's pretty much just the same character as Rey?
No.
This is turning
Um,
into a gloves off episode.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but here's why Phantom Menace is better.
Okay, wait. Let's have chat give us their opinions.
Well,
and help
Gizzy
us
says,
decide
I
which
agree
one.
with Judge on Rogue One. I just can't get into something where the main character isn't even a main character. Noggin says that the main character is supposed to be her. Even I know
Basically.
that. Best character was the mocking droid, which is true. Voiced by Alan Tudyk.
Here's why Phantom Menace is above it. Pod Race, Duel of the Fates. Duel of the Fates, that 8-minute battle sequence is better than the whole Rogue One movie. I would be willing to put, because that battle is so good and so well choreographed and so well done and moves around with Anakin's story and how the pod race leans into it and how that sets up Obi-Wan's character to ultimately fail at training Anakin. That is way better than Rogue One. Because Rogue One, we didn't need Rogue One to
It's
fully
still a fun
gather the
movie.
weight of A New Hope.
Still a good
But
movie.
the emphasis in Phantom Menace puts a
Wait
whole
a
new weight
second.
on
Well,
A New Hope.
Anakin doesn't get to make
Wait
any of his
a
choices in Phantom
second.
Menace.
Whoa. Jyn
He's not the main
Erso
character. The
is
main
the
character.
one who, when they're told they can't go to Scarif to get the Death Star plans, she's the one who gets a group together and goes. So you could argue that she makes the most significant choice in the
I
entire
don't know,
movie.
potato.
Okay. Well, here's then my next thing for why it's not
'Cause
better than
had
Phantom
Jyn
Menace.
Erso not
We
been
didn't
there-
need it.
Had Jyn
We
Erso
didn't
not
need it.
been there, dude. But
I'm not
she
saying it's a
is
bad
the reason
movie.
that they went to go get the Death Star plans.
Is she? Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure that when they are told they can't do a mission to Scarif,
Can somebody
because
fact
it's
check?
too
Because
dangerous,
I don't think so.
she's the one who gets the group together to go.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure
Everyone else
somebody
is
else
ready to
tells her
give
to
up.
do it. Pretty sure somebody
No.
else goes, you should do it.
No. I can't spell.
But I would ultimately say that the 7th ranked one, because we're doing 7 and 6 right now, right?
Yes.
That would be Rogue One, and then
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
I don't know. We're somewhere.
I disagree.
Either way, they are 6 and 7 spots. Whether or not you put Rogue One in 7 and
That's fair.
or Rogue One in 6, they're both 6 and 7 spots. They're not that far off.
Though, do you know what? I will give Rogue One. I was sitting there through that movie, and I enjoyed it, and I've watched it multiple times. Unlike the rest of, unlike other things.
Solo.
But it has that really epic Darth Vader hallway scene.
Right?
But I couldn't put it above Phantom Menace because that whole Darth Maul fight with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan is just a defining part of Star Wars. And I would be even willing to go further, saying that Phantom Menace is better than Episode 7. I'd be willing to go I'd be willing to go Episode
totally.
7,
Oh, yeah.
Rogue One, Phantom Menace.
I would
Yeah.
put Rogue One over Episode 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did fact check myself, and I was right. It very specifically says in the plot outline here that when she's told not to go to Scarif, she then convinces a group to go to Scarif to get the Death Star plans.
Okay, Cameron, I will give you an Itoto. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You're right.
Either way,
anyways,
that's 7, 6, and 5 right there.
Yeah.
So we still have 4, 3, 2, and 1. So, number 4.
This is where it gets harder, I feel.
I'm nostalgic.
Sure.
And I would rank 4th place. This doesn't mean it's bad.
Now the real fight begins. This is where the fun begins.
Episode 3 is the 4th best. It has the weight. It has that Shakespearean transitions of characters and downfall. But I cannot put it above the Ridge Tridge, as I like to call it.
Okay.
I would almost agree with Gizzy.
I understand.
I would almost agree with Gizzy by putting episode 5 at rank 4.
Sorry. What?
No,
I'm kidding.
Sorry.
Sorry. I just like.
Can you say that again?
No.
Can somebody clip
Zero
that?
chance.
I'm kidding.
I don't
is low
believe you.
Because 7 was okay. It was the best
I'm
of the
kidding.
sequel trilogy, Lord Potato, but it's definitely
I was
not
kidding.
better than episode
Kidding.
3, episode 4, episode 5, or episode
Or
6.
1. Or 1.
Three.
Wow.
One had more original things in it. Episode 7 was A New Hope Part 2. At least
That's
episode
the
1
thing.
had a couple
Even
other
Star
things in
Killer Base was just a bigger clone,
Greatest.
essentially, of a Death Star.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Like, it was cool, and it was a good, fun movie, but it was essentially a copy of A New Hope with new characters.
Yeah. You're right, though. I think you're right. 3, as much as I love 3 and everything that happens in 3 and the weight of 3, I think you're right. 3 is at number 4. I think.
Yeah, it'd be hard to put over any of the original trilogy movies.
But this is the thing, is I have watched...
The only one I'd maybe put it over, I might get shot for this, was
Cameron.
is
What are you about to say, buddy? Do I need to go
I
get a
would
firearm?
maybe put Revenge of the Sith over Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Maybe.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say New Hope, and I was like, what's your
No.
problem?
I do think A New Hope and Empire are easily the 2 best. I don't know which one I'd actually say is the best.
That one's, yeah. That one's hard.
I could see your argument for that more than I could see Rogue One over Episode 1.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think, again, though, it's funny. Like, in some ways, they're similar. But, yeah, I personally would probably put Episode 6 and then Episode 3 as number 4. Episode 6 and number 4. Episode 3 at number 3.
I think I'd introvert that, but I understand the argument for both.
Yeah.
As a
Again,
kid, Episode
it's
6 was my
kinda-
favorite, but as a
Yeah.
movie wise, I definitely see it being on the lower end. The Rancor fight is pretty cool, but I do think Episode 6, the excitement of beating the Empire, ultimately is not as like groundbreaking as the final turn of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan.
Yeah. It's just, it's hard because there's so many good moments in Episode 6 and Episode 3. But, yeah,
Lord
I would say
Potato.
for sure.
That is some controversy.
In that order, are you saying 1 is Episode 4, 2 is 7, and 3?
7 and
is
3
3?
are tied for best. 7 is tied for best. Oh,
Lord
6.
Potato.
6, not 7. 6,
Oh,
not 7.
thank goodness.
Woo!
I was going to
That
judge
that
you
that I can
so
understand a little bit
hard.
more than Episode 7. Woo! Woo! Hell is I was about to show up at his house. Like, dang. I
So
do
number
think-
1 now. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. That's my thing. My thing is, I have watched the as Mr. Judge would put it, the Tridge, more than I've ever watched the sequels, because we owned, and I own them now. We owned them on VHS, and we owned two versions on VHS, because we owned the original runs, like the 1970 whatever, 1980 whatever. I owned the original ones before all the edits got put in, before all the CGI got put in, as well as the 1990 special edition one, like 1997 whatever it was, special edition, what adds in all the CGI, adds in a whole bunch of different scene looks and whatever else. And like I grew up watching the original trilogy way more than I watched the prequels. I watched the prequels a lot, but my dad's favorites were the original, because those are the ones he got to see and stuff. And so that was just a thing of like,
I grew up with the exact opposite. I mean, we watched them all so much, but when I was a kid, The Phantom Menace was my favorite Star Wars movie, and I watched the heck out of that thing. But
the version we owned of that was funny because we actually owned a recording of it from when CBC used to do the Sunday night movies.
Oh my goodness.
And so we had a VHS recording of episode 1 with all the commercials cut into it and everything. Like, that was the version of episode 1 I had for the longest time.
Dude, those companies got like extra double marketing out of that clip.
For sure.
As a kid, I was stupid. I was so stupid. My favorite episode was episode 2. Yeah. It had the most lightsabers.
Kid, like watching the Battle of Geonosis is a really cool scene in episode 2. Like the clones and then the dust with the lasers flying everywhere. Like, it was pretty epic for sure.
I also sat there and was like, man, Star Wars got pretty itchy. They have an assassin. And then promptly forgot that in the very first Star Wars movie, they nuke a whole planet. Commit like 17 counts of genocide and just blow up a planet. And I'm like, oh man, they hired an assassin to kill one senator.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty edgy, guys.
I love the breakdown of, like, you know, Sidious sends Count Dooku to kill him, and then Count Dooku hires Boba Fett, and then Boba Fett hires a different assassin who then gives a droid a worm, and then the droid goes and delivers the worms. It's like, yeah, what the heck is going on here? There's like 18 layers of who this goes through before someone actually tries to kill her.
It's almost like if you make something overly complicated, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So number 1 and number 2.
I think
there's room for some huge debate on this whole list.
Christmas special.
Screw you, Cameron.
Have you guys watched it? Have you watched it?
So bad, yeah.
Dude, I have never had an experience in my life where every moment of it, I kept thinking like, wow, I should just leave. This isn't even worth it. But I couldn't, because you couldn't predict what was coming next. It's crazy. Like, everyone who worked on it had to have been as high as a human can be without dying. It is the wildest experience of my life, I'm pretty sure.
It's something, all right.
Yeah, it was just wild.
First mention of Boba Fett.
It's literally, you can search it on YouTube, and then the top most liked comment on this YouTube video is someone going, man, you know this was bad because even Disney won't copyright strike it. The YouTube video had been posted for years, and they hadn't taken it down.
Yeah, they don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's also not on Disney Plus, if you hadn't noticed. But the Ewoks, the animated Ewoks show is.
Well, even the Boba Fett little animation from it is on Disney Plus, but not the rest of the Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gizzy, your comment about Kylo Ren reminded me something that I noticed in Revenge of the Sith. Anakin, not as swole as Kylo, therefore Kylo better. When Anakin's shirt comes off,
It's
his chest is
true.
not as big. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude, that's just the actor though. He's just like that.
So we got to get here. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. I will throw out the idea of episode 5 being number 1. In the sense of movie. One that I rewatched the most is definitely either episode 6 or episode 4. But in terms of ranking it as a movie,
Yeah,
episode 5 changed
yeah,
how they do stories for movies. I would go as far to say that if episode 5 isn't done the way it is, and it's also one of the few Star Wars movies from the core 6 to not be directed by George Lucas. It was actually his film prof came in. So George Lucas wrote it, but his film prof directed it.
The more you know.
Steven Spielberg was going to originally direct episode 6, but because there was a strike for the Directors Guild, he was unable to, and he would lose his status because George Lucas wasn't part of the Directors Guild because they decided that the title sequence crawl was too weird and it could not be used in his movies if he would be part of the Directors Guild.
Huh.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's how revolutionary Star Wars was. George Lucas walked in with 2 middle fingers high up in the sky and said, "Screw that," and made bank. But with that, I would say episode 5 has to be the best one because you don't get the Dark Knight without episode 5. You don't get some of those things, those trilogy moments without episode 5, and it really hits the classic 3-part arc of the story where 5 is the biggest, lowest, most dramatic point of it. Or the second part of a 3-act story is episode 5.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have Luke going into that cave, attacking Darth Vader, and then the helmet opens up and it's himself. That whole part on Dagobah is also like, that's where we're introduced to Yoda. That's where we see Han Solo like taking on a hero of the rebellion. Like, seriously. The Hoth battle is nuts. There's just some really, and then you have the ultimate twist at the end. And episode 4 is great, and like watchability is probably higher than episode 5, but I think episode 5 is one A New Hope too.
I would say, and I get the meaning behind the end of Empire Strikes, or not Empire, of Return of the Jedi. But I would say that if Luke was actually the one that defeated the Emperor, I would probably put 6 over 5.
Interesting.
But that's definitely an opinion thing. There's always a part of me when I watch it where it feels a little anticlimactic for, you essentially had 3 movies of build up to Luke being able to defeat the Emperor. And then in the end, it's very poetic when Darth Vader does so and kind of goes back to being Anakin. But the fact that Luke basically just gets wrecked and then Darth Vader steps in and yeets the Emperor.
Here's the thing, though. Luke does the one thing that nobody else in the entire galaxy could do.
It's true.
Luke believes that...
Correct.
To
finish his thought, Luke believes that Darth Vader still has some good in him and that he can return back to the light side of the Force. Thus...
I know you guys don't care about hockey. Evan Bouchard for the Oilers could be my man crush right now. That dude, killing it.
Nice.
And Zach Hyman, let's go, boys. Yeah, so Luke is the only one who believes that Darth Vader can be Anakin Skywalker again. From the point that he kills younglings, even Padme doesn't believe it. Padme dies because she can't believe that he can be redeemed. Obi-Wan doesn't believe he can be redeemed. Yoda doesn't believe he can be redeemed. Darth Vader doesn't believe he can be redeemed.
Yeah.
Luke doesn't win the battle. He doesn't kill the Emperor, but what he does is he transforms the mind and attitude of one of the biggest bad guys in the universe, and he saves. He does what they tried to do with Rey, where she saves the universe and the rebellion because of love. No, Luke did that.
Yeah.
and that's.
No, he totally did.
Yeah.
But I see where
yeah.
like if he came up and like he like cut off Darth Vader's hands and then sliced the Emperor, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, even if he didn't kill Darth Vader, but like, you know, say Darth
Yeah.
Vader goes to protect the Emperor and then backs off because of something Luke does, and then Luke defeats the Emperor. But again, I mean, it's a good movie. It's some of the best movies.
The other thing with that is his line, like, your overconfidence is your weakness. And then the Empire retorts with, your faith in your friends is yours. His greatest weapon is not his faith in his friends, but his faith in
general.
Darth Vader. Yeah. Which is wild.
Yeah, totally. You are correct, Lord Potato. R2-D2 did carry hard. Dude is the real MVP, if we're being realistic, of the Star Wars universe.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, literally, sequel trilogy. How would they find Luke without R2-D2?
It's true.
He basically does everything in Star Wars.
It's true. It's true.
All right.
So, Joel, do you have a horse in this race?
No, I think like yeah, it's hard because like again, I've watched the original trilogy so much that I put them all right there, just at number one. Just I take the cop out. I'm not gonna lie, like those are my favorite movies. Those are so great.
If you are watching or listening, the reason we're not going to rank the trilogies is because it's clear that the original is number 1, and prequel is number 2, and sequel is number 3.
Yeah,
it's true.
But what we are going to do is post up our rankings list on our social media feeds, and you can tell us in the comments if we're right, if we're wrong, and how stupid we are.
Did somebody write this down?
Yeah.
So
I'll go back and watch it.
Ah, good.
With that said, our review is essentially this. It's episode 8 at 10th.
Yep.
Episode 9. Then we did episode 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Then there was some debate between episode 7 and Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had episode 1. And there was a little bit of debate there between Rogue One and episode 1. Those three are interchangeable in our minds. Then we had episode 3 or 6 in positions 4 and 3. There's some argument there. And then the top 2 have to be episode 5 and then episode 4.
I would say Ronan is correct. I would say we can just call, like, I don't know, the Clone Wars movie and Rogue One and the Solo movie a trilogy. And that's 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
And then the sequels are 4th.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Although the Clone Wars movie was not very good at all. But the series was great. That's all that matters.
Yes.
It's true. It's true. I'm still partial to the 2003 Clone Wars TV show.
Oh, that was so good.
So good.
Yeah.
I love it. You can find it all on YouTube.
You can find it all on Disney Plus too.
Yeah.
Those did a really good job of like making the Force seem powerful in a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like when Mace Windu just like literally obliterates an army of super battle droids with the Force. Or like he's literally just like punching them to crap and like using the Force to wreck them. It's such a cool scene.
It's so good. So good.
Okay, guys. So another question that I actually had somebody ask me this week that I wanted to share on the podcast. What's our favorite Star Wars media that isn't one of the core movies?
2003 Clone Wars.
Like video games, comic books, stories.
Yeah.
2003 Clone Wars
TV
or
shows.
PS2 Battlefront 2.
Ooh, yeah.
Though Ronan makes
I
a
have
good
to go
point.
with Ronan. Knights
Code
of the Old
Wars is so
Republic.
good.
Absolute baller. That game is what set me on the path to enjoy single player games.
That's
I
fair.
would probably say the Clone Wars TV series. Mainly because, like, Attack of the Clones does a good job of giving you a glimpse of the Clone Wars and how it started, but then Revenge of the Sith just jumps to the end, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the Clone Wars TV series does such a good job of it actually, if you watch it between watching episode 2 and episode 3, it gives so much more meaning even to the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and everything going on in the war and everything going on with the Jedi Council, and like it makes it adds so much, I feel like, to the prequel trilogy, that I would have to put it as one of the top things out there. Otherwise, I mean, Force Unleashed was awesome. Those games were sick. So
Yeah. Totally. Force Unleashed, has some of the coolest
that's true.
unofficial stories.
You know what?
I was a huge fan of those.
Super interesting. I learned this recently.
Yeah?
Oddly, I learned this information while listening to a Halo podcast.
Interesting.
But apparently the versions of the game, like the Wii version, was super different from other versions of the game.
Yep.
It is.
Like, and not just like gameplay, like the story was different and everything. Just
it's wild.
for the heck of it.
I grew up playing the Wii version, and then I went to a buddy's house and was playing and was like, sorry, what the crap? What's going on here?
See, I played on my DS.
Oh,
I would be so excited if they brought it back for PC.
Yeah.
I think that'd be something that's really cool.
You can get it on PC, I'm pretty sure, but it's just
I
the
have
original version.
Both.
I have both of them too. I have both of them. I have both Code Wars.
Yeah.
I have the Battlefront games.
Heck yeah.
I would also love to see, though, do you know what would be a really cool concept? Do this Marvel Rival-esque style, but Star Wars. I think that'd be really cool.
I think, you know what I think too? A Star Wars What If would be awesome. Like if they did the same thing that they did with the Marvel What If.
They did with the Lego Brick Tales or Rebuild the Galaxy. Yeah. That's what they did. They did in the Lego version, but they did do. But I get what you're saying. Like if they did like a more like Clone Wars-esque TV show of What If, or did even like what Marvel did with the different styles a little bit. If they did different styles, if they mixed Visions and What If.
What if Yoda defeated the Emperor, or what if Anakin never turned? Right, things like that. Even like what if Count Dooku had never become a Sith? What if he had stayed a Jedi? Or what if Qui-Gon had lived? Qui-Gon was
Tyrannus.
Gecko brought up an interesting point and a hot take here. Star Wars is cursed to never again have a new innovative game. And you know what? I think I could believe that only because every time we get a new innovative game, even if it's Knights of the Old Republic, they still find a way to sit there and do Clone Troopers armor in some way, because they have to make it similar enough for other people to be interested in it, and Disney isn't willing to take something to the next level right now.
I haven't played a ton of Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, but I feel like those games would prove that statement wrong.
When in the timeline do those games come out, though?
After episode 6, before episode 7, technically.
So basically, it's the story of Cal Kestis, who was a Padawan. Technically, at the very beginning of the game, you actually see Order 66, and his Jedi Master saves him. And then it's basically him living in the galaxy afterwards, and kind of going through a journey to become a Jedi. Anyways.
So it's what we see in other Star Wars stories from that time period.
I would argue that game was pretty innovative. It was very different from other Star Wars games for sure.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It's 66, not episode 6. It's Order 66.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would love to see, though, is have a story, a Star Wars story based on where you are a spy, and it's a more of a stealth thing, and you're trying to get things out. I think that'd be really cool.
Well, what I mean. Andor, if you guys aren't watching it, also season 2 has been pretty sick.
It's been really cool.
Even if you've only seen season 1, you will know that Andor has 0 Force use, 0 lightsabers. It's just basically it's regular people in the Star Wars universe, and it's really good. And Star Wars, it's like almost a proof of concept that you can tell really cool stories in the Star Wars universe without having to have Jedi or Sith or the Force.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched a single episode of Andor yet.
And I think all the like
I
You
know,
are
the
I
missing
basic
know, I know,
concept with
I
that
know.
also though
best Star
is
Wars
like
media I have ever
all
seen.
the books that have been written about Star Wars. There's over 47 authors who've written different novel series in the Star Wars universe before the sequel trilogy came out, before it was sold to Disney, and they all sat down and agreed and adhered to the canon that was set forward. These were all independent writers who reached out to Star Wars and said, "I want to write something like this." And George Lucas and the concept front runners sat down and were like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And they, as a team, slowly folded things into being canon. I think if Disney really wanted to make some really cool stories, I say they hand the keys to people who are outside that system to tell stories.
That's basically what they've done. Like the new novels,
With Andor,
comic books that they release are outside writers that are hired on to do those things.
but I think they should do that with like TV shows and do some more one-off movies and do some of those movies like outside of this episode 1 to 9, because we're getting so many things from episode 3 to 4 that I'm sort of sitting here going, well, okay, what if we get some things about like episode like before episode 1? What if we get like a story about young Qui-Gon Jinn?
I think the hard part with that is, especially when you're talking like visual media, they're so established in this timeline. And we know from especially like extended universe lore that isn't canon anymore, thanks to Disney. There's lots of really, really cool stories, like the Yuuzhan Vong, even Thrawn was actually pulled from extended universe stuff and brought back into canon.
Yeah.
His character's a little different than it was in the books that were about him. But still, he's a cool character. But it is hard to start doing something because they tried to do High Republic stuff and they tried to do the Acolyte, which was way earlier. Yeah. And I enjoyed the Acolyte, but it definitely wasn't like amazing. And they did some weird things too. There's a lightsaber that's a whip in the Acolyte.
It's in the comics.
That was really weird. I don't think that makes any sense.
It's in the comics. Dark Horse Star Wars Clone Wars comics.
There are some like interesting light I don't want to call them lightsaber, light weapons in extended universe though.
Yeah, it totally exactly. Is. Yeah. But I don't know, it felt weird for her to like whip out this thing and it's wiggly and she slices something in half with it.
That's valid.
Nothing like a flaccid whip.
Yep. We'll go with that.
This guy. This guy.
But with all that to say, as we get close to wrapping up here, I think we can all agree that no matter how you want to rank things, how you want to look at things, and how you want to debate or argue, Star Wars is just so freaking cool.
It is. So good.
Star Wars is a huge part of our childhood, games, movies, TV series. How many of us played Star Wars with their friends during recess on the playground? I definitely did.
I don't know.
My friends and I would endlessly write in our own Star Wars ideas and play them on the playground, like throughout like grades 1 to 6. It was something that like if you weren't playing Star Wars, then what were you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So, Nitwits, what are our favorite Star Wars moments? What is like something that we're just like that will never. I watched it and I saw it and that is Star Wars to me. That sums it up right there.
Obi-Wan and Maul's final fight scene.
Oh,
in Star Wars
forgot
Rebels.
about that till right now.
If you guys have never watched Rebels, at the very least, you need to search up the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul fight from Rebels.
The stance.
We're going to share that on our Discord here after the episode. So if you're not on our Discord, get connected.
an amazing way to end. And again, if you've watched the Clone Wars, you know, like, their conflict does not end with him cutting Maul in half. Throughout the Clone Wars series, they meet and have conflicts with Maul multiple times as Maul tries to find out basically what he can do now in this universe where he's got the power of a Sith, but he isn't one. And yeah, it's just there's multiple times where he gets into fights with Obi-Wan, and there's this like intense rivalry, and then Rebels just ends it oh beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
It yeah, it was. I enjoyed lots of Rebels, but I think that was probably one of the coolest moments in the whole series. Technically, he is not a Sith because he's just a dude that has dark side powers.
Yeah.
Like,
He's a force-sensitive
he
assassin.
was,
He was in
well,
episode
he
1.
was, but technically, with
He still got the title of Darth, though.
Yeah.
So
it's a weird one.
It becomes a self-title after he is presumed dead,
mhm.
and he's closer to a gray Jedi than a Sith.
Yeah.
He kind of just does things for himself.
Yep.
Like,
He
Exactly.
becomes chaotic neutral.
Yes.
yeah, basically.
Joel, what about yourself?
Man, it's so hard. I think for me, again, let me say this. The thing outside of Star Wars that I think is Star Wars is, if you don't know his name, it's a guy by the name of Sam Witwer.
Mm-hmm.
If you
He
don't
voices
know,
Darth Maul.
he voices Darth Maul, he voices a ton of characters. Listen to him talk about Star Wars. It's just that. Like, he is what we've talked about a lot on the podcast of, like, we need to bring those people in that are like that are for the fandom and whatever else. And then you have Sam, who comes in and literally out Star Wars Dave Filoni when it came to like Clone Wars episodes and all that. So outside of Star Wars, a Star Wars thing is Sam Witwer to me. I love him. He's great.
There's an interview with Sam Witwer where he literally talks about how they were doing like a reading for an episode before actually, starting to do the voice acting, animating and everything. And he talks about how there's this scene and Dave Filoni had written it. And he basically, he talks about it as like one of his first times doing voice acting for the Clone Wars show. And he basically talks about how he tells Dave Filoni, like, no, this isn't right. This doesn't fit what the character would do. And when he explains it, Dave Filoni goes, yep, you're right. And any interview with Sam Witwer where he talks about Star Wars, he gets it better than almost anyone else does.
And inside of Star Wars, I think it boils. It's hard to pick one. If I had to try and pick one, I couldn't do it. If I had to pick 3, it would be Duel of the Fates, Obi-Wan and Anakin's fight in episode 3, and the "No, I am your father" scene.
Yeah,
because that, as a kid, was mind blowing. That you had this like character who, when I was watching it, was like, he used to scare the pants off me. Darth Vader was a terrifying villain when I was a kid. And then to come to the realization that he was Luke's dad was like, bruh, like, shattered me. I was like,
yeah,
villains aren't supposed to be dads. Villains are supposed to be lonely old men. Like, that was what
have you ever watched Ninjago?
No.
Joel?
Lloyd. But yeah.
How could I ruin your life? I wasn't even there for it.
Yeah. But like, those would be the 3 for me, especially the "I am your father" scene. But like, Michael?
Yeah. Oh man, as soon as you guys started listing those things, it was like, man, that's like, I originally was like, yeah, I think I know what my number 1 is, and then Cameron said the Obi-Wan fight. It's up in the Discord, go check it out. Joel mentioned Sam Witwer. Threw that video up in the Discord. Go check out a video of him. Like, these moments, I sat here and was like, Duel of the Fates, man, that's one of them. The Darth Vader hallway scene, man, that's one of them.
Yeah.
I remember watching the Kenobi versus Darth Maul scene and all that, and then Cameron and I at the time were working together, and our boss was like, I don't really know what I think about this, and we pretty much were just like, what do you mean you don't know? That's one of the greatest pieces of Star Wars visual like emotion ever.
Oh yeah.
But for me, there's just something to that moment in episode 4 where they're operating with their assault on the Death Star, and the guy sits there and he goes, "Okay, Luke, you got to make your run. I'm not going to be able to hold out. I'm not going to make it. It's down to you." And you just watch as Luke goes, he just breathes in. He's like, "I don't know if I can do this." And then the three X-Wings bank, and from there on, that trench run, man, like you think about what they could do at the time. They just cut between miniatures, and Mark Hamill sitting in this makeshift cockpit talking on a radio.
Yeah,
that is. I love that trench run so much, and I think that's my number one moment, or really anything with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I Gizzy, I would argue that Anakin is maybe the main central character, but Anakin is actually cooler as Darth Vader than he ever was as Anakin, because he's a whiny little piece of crap.
He's supposed to be a whiny little piece of crap.
I know, but like I like Jar Jar Binks more than I like little Anakin.
Darth Vader is a better character than Anakin by a lot.
Oh yeah.
And like Obi-Wan, like if you like, the reason I watch the prequels is for Obi-Wan's story arc, not because of anything else. But not to end this on a fight or anything, but yeah, the trench run. The trench run is my.
Which is really funny. If you watch the trench run of like versus the original take of that versus the special edition take of that, so funny.
Yeah.
Like
I think
the original take is just the miniatures, so they're like super stiff, just like going through the trenches. Whereas the special edition is CGI'd over, so it actually shows them like curving and banking. It's so funny to watch. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I feel like some other like moments that just pop into my mind. Kanan Jarrus dying in Rebels.
Yep.
I think that was a really awesome.
He dies. Scene. Sorry.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I know.
It doesn't need a spoiler warning if it's 7 years old.
I know.
I think, again, like the Battle of Exegol, when like just everyone in the galaxy shows up. I do think that was the peak of episode 9 for sure. I don't know. It's always hard to like actually pick out moments. It was the same when we talked about this with Halo. Like, how do you pick from so many awesome moments, right?
True. I think outside of like mainstream Star Wars canon, the only other moment that's like, this is Star Wars and I love it is, and I'm not gonna like, I know a lot of people already know it and I'm not gonna say it, but that moment in Knights of the Old Republic, when you find out what's going on, so good.
Yeah,
that character, one of my favorite designs of all time too.
Oh, another moment it's once again from A New Hope, when Luke ignites the lightsaber in Obi-Wan's hut. And this is something that I think there's a cool way to watch Star Wars, guys. And for those fans who are getting ready for May the 4th coming up and who are planning on watching some Star Wars movies, what if I challenge you with this? Watch them in flashback order.
Ooh.
Watch episode 4 up until the point where Obi-Wan says, before the dark times, before the Clone Wars. Then hit pause.
And watch
episode 1.
Clone Wars.
No, then watch episode 1 and episode 2.
Every episode of Clone Wars.
Watch episode 1 and 2, and then finish watching episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
Then watch episode 5, right to the point where Darth Vader says, "No, Luke, I am your father." And he cuts off Luke's hand, and he looks at Luke's hand, and there's a moment where the helmet goes down and it looks at his. Hit pause. Then watch episode 3. Right up to the point where Anakin and Obi-Wan's about to go fight Anakin. Hit pause. Finish episode 5. Watch episode 6. Right until the moment. As soon as Luke cuts off Darth Vader's hand and he's sort of leaning there and Luke like prepares to strike him down, hit pause, finish watching episode 3 with that battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, where Obi-Wan sits there and goes, "You were my brother, Anakin." And all these things. You're supposed to bring balance to the Sith, not destroy them. Finish watching episode 3 and then finish with that moment where he upsets the Empire. If you watch it in that order, as janky and cutty and all that, it's just a new way to watch it. And there's so many other ways that you can watch it, but I would suggest trying to watch it that way. I did it last year. So much fun.
I wonder if there's a flashback supercut.
There probably is, but you'll have to download it illegally.
That'd take a lot of work.
That's true.
There's also a simpler order to watch it in instead of doing all that pauses and stuff. But there's a Google some ways to watch it in a different view.
It's true.
It's fun. And
there's one version of Watch Order where they just don't even include Phantom Menace at all. So
yeah,
it's true. That's really hard for Joel's VCR. Hey, leave my VCR alone. Speaking of just a random off topic because I remember it came into my head. Speaking of supercuts, there was a guy on TikTok who I think he finished it up to a certain point. I loved following, but he did a complete supercut of every single MCU movie in chronological order with like flashbacks and everything thrown in. And
isn't that more than 24 hours?
It's nuts. I don't know if this guy is still going or if he finished it or not because I lost track of it.
Is this the same dude who did the supercut of the Kenobi TV series, but as if it was a movie?
Yeah,
that is really good too.
Yeah, that one was good. Anyways, I digress.
I do think though we're approaching our time.
Yeah, about that.
But thanks for tuning in, guys.
Emma wasn't even here.
May the 4th be with you.
Emma wasn't even here to talk about Darth Jar Jar, so that's going to be a later thing.
If you weren't here at the beginning of the episode, you should go and follow our Instagram and interact with us there. Our Instagram is at Nerds&Nitwits. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, we'll post our listing of Star Wars episodes. And if you really want to make your opinions known, you can do it there because your chatting is it's not going to be anywhere, so no one can know except for us.
If you want to relive the funny moments from this episode, yeah, he's got the links. You want to relive the funniness of this episode? Check out our shorts on YouTube or check them out as reels on Instagram. Share them with your friends. We appreciate the traffic.
It's true, we do. But I think we're done. I think that's it.
I think that's it. May the 4th be with you guys.
May the 4th be with you all.
May the 4th be with you all.
Wait, what do they do with the... Is there a force?
This one. It's this one. It's definitely that one.
And that's the part where I transition out.
That's it.
We're out of here.
The midichlorians are too much for this one, Spock. Oh.
Do the thing, Judge. Do the thing. Still going.
Wait a second.
All right, that's it. Good night, everybody.